Guys who said I can fix her and went for it. How did it go? She stabbed me and tried telling cops I attacked her. It didn't really fly since she was caught on video chasing me down the hallway with a knife. I figured that was enough of that and kicked her out. My son's ex tried to stab him. He then threw her out. He called me next time and said should I apologize? My response fuck no. Hard fuck no. Wrong answer. As a dad, you should come up with something like yeah. Tell her I'm sorry I ever met you. After some powerful emotional breakthroughs, we discovered ourselves together and found happiness beyond our wildest dreams. And have now been married for 15 years with 4 kids, and obviously I'm F kidding. How the F do you think it went? Had us in the first half. NGL. Was a ref great fanfic. I fixed her for the next guy. This made her realize all her problems, but by that point she's so stuck in her ways with you, she won't change until she has to for someone else. Yup. She realized she had some work to do and did it. I see her all the time and I'm happy she has started living life to its fullest. This is seriously the #1 piece of dating wisdom I plan to pass on to my kids. Don't ever go into a relationship thinking you can fix or change someone. Sure, people can change small habits or behaviors, but you can't change the core of who a person is. And thinking you can is a fool's errand that will only end in pain and disappointment. And don't fall in love with potential. They are who they are. They most likely will not change. This is important. I've dated a couple brilliant women who tell me their aspirations, and I'm like wow. And months or even years go by and nothing changes because they dream, but do not choose to act. And pushing someone to act in a way they don't wish to will only create resentment. She emotionally abused me for 13 years, and then we divorced. So about how you'd expect /view 200D. Pretty much the same for me, but for nearly 10 years. The divorce was finalized 6 weeks ago. Congrats on getting out. Thought that her anxiety wasn't so bad and that a partner was all that she needed. Was with her for a year and a half. Moved across the country to stay with her. Lived with her for 2 weeks before she had a meltdown and broke up with me /view 200D. Mental health issues will never be solved by a relationship. IDK helped mine though, cause I finally had a strong emotional bond that I didn't have with my family. I never expected to fix her. I expected her to fix herself after showing her there's another way to live instead of abject chaos all the time. Took a while, but she figured it out. You're still together? Yep. 10 years just about. This is nice to know. My partner is going through some issues and making an effort to fix herself. And I've just been trying to be patient and let her do her thing. She's making changes, which is great. Part of me wonders if I'm gonna be dropped after the changes are made, or if things will recover for us. It's cool to see a success story on this thread. Gives me a little hope. I'm happy things worked out for you and yours. I'm hopeful things will work out on my end as well. Would not recommend it. Guys who said I can fix her and went for it. How did it go? She broke me. I didn't necessarily say I could fix her, but I knew she was kind of toxic, and I wondered how bad could it be. Fucked around and found out. Emotional abuses me. Used to physically abuse me. Gaslights me. Always turns things into being my fault. Horrible. Don't do it. Why are you still with her? Leave. She's still broken and I'm gone. I tried, but as they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You did your best, sir. Gave me trauma and 1+ years of therapy, ongoing, ATM. So yeah, you know what they say. People who go into therapy never go out. If you ask me, therapy is probably the wrong way to go about it. What we all really need is good introspection, which therapy helps with, sure. But I'd say 1 year should be a long enough threshold to realize that it's not going to be fixed through someone listening to your thoughts. I'd recommend reading the psychology classics from the 60s and 70s and or philosophy. It gives you wisdom and therapy through the act of trying to determine what's right and what's not. If you don't want to open a book, just get an audio version. She didn't want to be fixed. In the other hand, I have a friend that gives you that wanting to fix her vibe. Started dating a guy and ended up posting a he could fix me post in social media. Mayo. Don't save her, she don't wanna be saved. Don't save her, she don't wanna be saved. J. Cole. 36 Mayfair. Actually, he got it from them. Edit. Now I'm the one F up. It was Project Pat, not 36. Got her to try, but her psychologist and therapist couldn't help either. Yay IDK, they must be lying to them. My ex was actively lying to me about being raped while simultaneously being in therapy. I can't imagine any sort of therapist would go along with that. It was a wool crank, no start issue. 1969 Camaro. It wasn't a highly desirable one. It was a base Camaro with a 307 2-barrel small block, but it was in good condition. The owner replaced any and all parts trying to get this thing to start. He was so frustrated he sold it to me for a song. Just wanted it gone. Trailered it home. About 15 minutes worth. Diagnostics pointed to the ignition condenser coil. I was incredulous. Surely it wasn't going to be this simple. Dude replaced everything except the condenser coil. I robbed one out of an old distributor I had. Started right up. Came down to idle. Purred like a kitten. So yeah, it went really well. Fixed her and sold her for more than I paid. Take your happy ending and get out. You know that's not what we are looking for here. I thought it was funny. It was an arc in my life I will never forget because it taught me so much. It went about as poorly as you could expect, and after several breakdowns and us fading away, I promised I would never do some mess like that again. So far, so good. Fixed her, but it wasn't a way to start a healthy relationship. It couldn't ever turn into a healthy one either. The process was just way too much. Broke myself a bit in the process and took ages to fix the damage. Second one was an easier fix. More of a teamwork effort. Didn't drain me as much and a much healthier balance from the start. She wasn't self-destructive, just a bit broken. So I have a motto for this. If you're gonna be a therapist, you can't date them. With that I believe I've helped many people with their self-development. But I've never dated any of them. It's gone pretty well. I help them to the best of my ability and then we go our separate ways. NGL kinda makes me feel like an idiot that's being used. But on the other hand I'm helping others be happier in life. I'm not going to stop. It's just kind of who I am. But I do get mixed emotions about it sometimes. Generally speaking I'm pretty happy to do it though. I had that realization mid-relationship unfortunately. It was an, oh, this is why I'm not attracted to this person anymore. I'm their therapist. A pretty good one. Which means I remove my needs and emotions from the situ so I can be present for them all the time. Can't maintain attraction across that emotional divide. Ah. Shit. Apostrophe. I used to lurk on a message board about the Nevada brothels. Guys would warn each other, don't be Captain Save a Ho. Just find them, F them, and forget them. Then some of the ladies would post, a lot of our clientele are lonely emotionally stunted men desperate for a girlfriend. We tell each other get them in, get them off, get them out. Apostrophe. Does that mean something? It means regardless of your gender, you need to keep proper boundaries so people with issues don't suck you into their problems and hurt you. Thought I'd met the love of my life. Had some of the happiest days of my life. Then she betrayed me more than anyone ever has at my absolute lowest, after promising me we'd always be a team. That she'd always be there for me and loved me. People have since suspected that she had/has BPD. She got rid of her hormonal implant and took on counseling after our breakup. Both of which I constantly pushed for throughout but she deflected. Turns out both helped tremendously. Who'd have thought? We broke up officially December 2021. Lived together until February 2022 and had a weird reconciliation. Potential Hoover. Late summer before she wrote me an 8-page love letter. Then got a rebound 2 weeks or so later in November. Haven't heard a peep since, but still think about her a lot. I think I have the only positive outcome here. I didn't start with I can fix her, I started with we can fix ourselves and pitched the idea that we get together and work on success together. We had similar emotional, economical and social goals. And 5 years later we are married with a house and a newborn. We are told by mentors and our counselor, who we see more on a maintenance schedule than for crisis management. We are very successful and well progressed for our age or ages, usually in a context relating to our relationship/marriage, because we are proactive in self-work and open to input from wiser and more experienced folks in all areas of life. We met in high school, and she was an emotional wreck, anxious and shy from a dysfunctional family, incredibly averse to commitment, and constantly putting me in the way of her emotional outbursts. I was an arrogant narcissist with a manipulation problem who was convinced I understood the world while in my teens and refused to budge on the opinions and ideals that I had. However, we mutually agreed to work on ourselves, acknowledging our flaws, and we have come a long way. We are very young still, early 20s, but we have a house on some acreage, each have a car and a motorcycle. She has a career in finance and I'm rising in my blue collar field. We are set to hit 6 figures together within 2 years, accounting for the cost of a new child. So, it went pretty well. She cheated on 2 of her boyfriends with me. For some reason I thought it would be alright to date her. They never knew. We dated for a year. She left me and got back with her ex. That lasted like 4 months or so. Nothing was good enough. Constant arguments. Regretting the relationship, no regard for my feelings, and keeping me low. I start to heal after 4 to 5 months, and she calls me back, says I'm everything missing from her life. The phone call I was waiting for. We get back together. I tell her therapy is mandatory. She goes, and it's good. She sells her hours, moves across the country with her kids, and we live together. First 2 months were good, and then it was more of the same. Told her not to work, so she could take a break from being a single mom, and figure everything out. That lasted 8 months. She still has some income. Emotionally, there was always a void, and it was my fault. It ran me down. I'm guilty of things, but feel like I had reasons. I stopped applying effort, because it was never good enough when I tried. Constantly walking on eggshells. It affected everything. We just split a month ago. I left with 1k in my bank account and a bag of clothes. She called me the first week to backquote, talk about bills. It became a screaming match. Told me she fucked someone 3 times that week. To me, she was cheating at the end. I was on the road for work. Came home to move into a new place, and she was checked out. One last argument, and I was gone. Every relationship she's ever been in has been the same level of disaster. It still eats at me. I'm still in love with woman, and catch myself feeling bad for her, rationalizing her behavior, and going over my mistakes. I've never felt like such an emotional pussy. I was abused and manipulated before I was ripped off and devastated financially, and then she turned all my friends and family against me before having me completely cancelled, totaling my neighbor's car, and having the SWAT team show up and arrest me. At which time I was unconstitutionally incarcerated without bond for 2 weeks. Oh, and all the evidence shows that she's not telling the truth. Save all the evidence and documentation you can. Might be worth taking the city to court in the end. Maybe her too if a lawyer thinks you have a shot. Sometimes spite is the only thing to hold on to. Don't let it go until you have something better. I have a lot of documentation. Hell. She owes me thousands in our divorce and has defaulted on payments. But because she claims I abused her, I don't have her address to have her served. The only 2 answers are she fucks you up or you fix her for the next guy. Anything else is BS. How about both? For my husband, after 12 years he finally did. I mean, I'm not fixed, but he got me in therapy and loved me through all the terrible parts of working through my mental bullshit. When we were dating I was very honest with him before we got serious. I said I'm needy, clingy, moody, I cry every day, I'm not mentally well, I have daddy issues, anger issues, and CSA trauma. He said that's not an issue for him. He's been riding the roller coaster with me. I've given him countless outs and this man has always told me he's here, that I don't have to do this alone, that I won't always be this way. He's been through hell with me, but he never let me go through it alone. He didn't know how to help, but he was there. He loves me so good. He's given me an amazing daughter, a beautiful home, more love than I have ever deserved in my life. And I finally have a family that loves me and isn't mean to me. I will never be able to give him a fraction of what he's given me, but I will spend my life trying. He's loved me when I couldn't love me. He's loved me when he shouldn't. He's loved me through everything. I don't deserve him at all. He truly loves me unconditionally, and I don't understand how. He's the absolute love of my life, and I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that my daughter gets to have him for a dad. He's amazing. He was made for it. He's so perfect. I'm sorry I'm rambling. She ended up marrying the owner of the strip club she worked at. Lol. Always been curious as to what the later years of a stripper's life turns out like. Sure, you hear the stories of the ones that save, study and end up transitioning to a normal, well-paying career. But there must be a lot more that get caught up in the fast-paced lifestyle with wealthy guys, who are also the type of guys that know they can trade out for someone newer and younger. How do things turn out for the latter? It's also generally a short-lived career, favoring younger dancers. So if you do that for a few years and have to leave with a gap in your resume, what's the next step? No judgment here, of course. Just very curious. Well, she ended up with 5 kids and became a real estate agent. I think there is a great opportunity for a lot of money if you keep your head straight. I drove strippers around for extra money. Most of the ladies I met were very much into partying and having fun. No money saved. She has just gotten out of the hospital for attempted suicide. We dated for 9 months. Throughout that time, she had episodes of psychosis, cutting, and night terrors. I was patient, checked in to make sure she didn't go too far, and tried to make her feel loved. Ended up cheating on me after I paid for her to go visit friends across the country her 3rd day there. I fixed her, then she left me, since she doesn't need you at that point. Let me come back to you in a few months. Keep me updated, man. I was wrong. So very wrong. Sex was phenomenal though. Crazy in the head, crazy in the bed.